Hospitalization. You're planning to use that as an excuse to slack off on housework even more.
Slack off, yeah. I didn't mean to.
If you keep shirking your chores, divorce is next.
Unfazed, my husband casually spoke these words, not worrying about my upcoming hospital stay. And apparently, he thinks he can intimidate me with the threat of divorce. He believes that if he dangles the possibility of a split, I'll become obedient. What an insult. Just because I'm a housewife doesn't mean I'll let myself be pushed around. I'm definitely going to divorce him. Definitely escape from this hell. I'm Sandy Davis, 28 years old. A year ago, I married Kenny, a colleague from work. We were in different departments but often interacted, and his advances led to a relationship. After dating smoothly, we finally tied the knot. With our marriage, I resigned from the company and became a full-time housewife. That's because Kenny had said this to me before we got married. Hey, Sandy, after we get married, could you become a full-time housewife?
Yeah. Bill, but I don't really hate my current job. Is that so? Sure. I mean, I'm not particularly skilled at housework or anything.
She says my mom was always a stay-at-home mom, and I think it's best for women to protect the home. Thanks to her, my dad could focus on work without stress.
That's right, Kenny. I'll try being a housewife.
So, I quit my job and started a new life as a housewife. Managing unfamiliar chores was challenging, but it was my life with Kenny, whom I loved so much. Plex. I lost my parents a few years ago, and my only family now is my husband. I was determined to cherish this life. However, happiness doesn't last forever. One day, 6 months after our marriage, my husband came home from work in an unusually bad mood. Even when tired, he would usually greet me with "I'm home," but not today. He let out a big sigh and plopped down on the sofa. I cautiously approached him.
Kenny, welcome home. You seem tired. Are you okay? Ashton's dinner's ready. Would you like to eat? But maybe you want to take a shower first. Hi, Kenny.
I can't, you see, I'm thinking. Stop bothering me.
Just with wide eyes and a glare in my direction, my husband lashed out. I had never seen him this angry before, and I involuntarily flinched. I'm sorry. But despite my immediate apology, he clicked his tongue loudly enough for me to hear it. In an obnoxious tone, he began to take out his bad mood on me.
Must be nice just lazing around the house all day.
Hey. Kenny, what are you saying all of a sudden?
You're simpering. You're supposedly a housewife, but really you're just lounging around. You're just lounging around while I'm at work. You're really the worst.
Hold on. I'm Mr. Stive tonight. I'm always doing chores around the house.
Shut up. You're nothing but a leech, yet you have the nerve to talk back to me.
He suddenly grabbed a handful of my hair and yanked it upwards. I felt an unspeakable fear at his actions. I quickly raised my voice. Stop it. But my plea didn't reach him. But for the following hour, I was subjected to a barrage of verbal abuse called innate wives and a freeloader.
I'm reducing our monthly expenses, you know.
As he declared, his treatment of me worsened day by day. Initially, he only reduced our spending money by $100, but now I'm only getting half of what we used to. Husky relationship wasn't one between husband and wife anymore, it was more like master and servant. This was only a year into our marriage. You might think it's only been a year, but for me, it was a year of hell. From the day Kenny lost his senses, time seemed to crawl at a painfully slow pace. Every night, I was reprimanded and blamed for every little thing. Even so, the reason I stayed with Kenny as a couple was because I just couldn't bring myself to truly dislike him. I kept hoping he would someday return to his old self. One day, something happened. I was cleaning around the house when my cell phone rang. Checking the screen, I saw a name that I hadn't seen in a while. Lori, a former coworker. Excited by the unexpected call, I immediately pressed the answer button. Hello, Lori. Just long time no see.
Debbie. Oh, it's been a while. Hey, can you chat right now?
Of course.
I'm sorry for being so blunt, but Sandy, are you fighting with your husband?
Arguing? Why do you ask?
I heard through the grapevine. Recently, Annie has been talking bad about you at work.
According to Lori, my husband looks as if he is very dominant at home lately.
She can't do anything without me. Oh, she's so helpless when it comes to housework. She would be divorced if she wasn't with me.
Apparently, he has been bad-mouthing me to our former colleagues and junior staff in his department. Because I used to work at the same company, everyone in his workplace knows me. My former coworkers, familiar with me, seemed to have subtly defended me, but it seems that even this did not sit well with Kenny, and he was giving the cold shoulder to the juniors and colleagues who defended me. It's because of this. The trust he had built up was crumbling, and the atmosphere in his department was supposedly quite bad. Upon hearing this, Lori felt concerned and decided to reach out to me. I was at a loss for words after hearing this series of events. Not only did I feel guilty, but I also felt extremely embarrassed that my husband was causing trouble for his coworkers. I'm sorry, Billy. It seems like Kenny has been causing trouble. It's okay. Etchens, I'm in a different department, but you need to do something about this soon or Kenny will be isolated at work.
I know. But he won't even listen to me at home.
I see. But it would be better to discuss this before things get out of hand. It's for your sake and for Kenny's too.
Ah, yeah, you're right. Hence, Lori? I'll try to talk to him tonight.
Give it a try. And if anything comes up, I swear I'm always here to listen.
After saying thank you and hanging up the phone, I got back to cleaning. I made up my mind to have a serious talk with Kenny once he got home. And so I waited for his return. Several hours later, my husband came home from work. As always, he headed straight for the fridge and grabbed a beer. The temptations in the past few months, he hadn't even been saying I'm home, nor discussing the events of his day. After finishing his meal, he usually starts lecturing me. So, before he could take a sip of his beer, I brought up the conversation.
Hey, Kenny. How things been going well at work recently?
Huh? What's with the sudden question? I'm not so incompetent that you need to worry about me?
About work, actually. I heard something today. They said you've been talking behind my back at work?
Talking behind your back? What are you talking about?
That's surrounding. Don't play dumb.
I rebuked my husband, who tried to play it off. I confronted him, making it clear to my surprised husband.
Hey, what do you want to accomplish? Not just at home, but even at work, you've been bad-mouthing me. Feels so fun about creating a negative atmosphere in your department.
What are you saying?
Do you realize everyone is having a hard time because of you? Jenny! How'd you see that? Slurs and things that are on your side are so staggering that if you want to talk bad about me in front of me, then do as you please. But don't cause trouble for your colleagues too.
Right after I said that, a sharp sound echoed in the room. I felt a dull pain on my left cheek, slowly spreading. A few seconds later, I realized my husband had slapped me.
Why would you, do that,
Why? It's because you keep back talking.
back talking? I was just, worrying about you. Jenny.
Shut up. It's the point now and be opening. There's no reason for you to be ordering me around. Get it? Not so. You can live because of me. Throw out as he's adding. And it's just like if there is a problem and wait, just keep quiet and take care of the house.
He spat out the harsh words with a strong tone. I was unable to articulate a response. I had plenty to say, but my body wouldn't cooperate due to the fear. Afterwards, my husband started drinking his beer as if nothing had happened. He started laughing while watching TV and ordered me to bring him snacks. No matter what, I can't seem to get my husband to understand. Since then, the way he treated me worsened day by day. Not only my heart, but also my body was in shreds. Then, one day, on my way to the grocery store, I was suddenly overcome with extreme nausea. My vision warped, and I was assaulted by such severe dizziness that I couldn't even stand. When I regained consciousness, I found myself in a hospital bed. The doctor, upon seeing me awake, kindly explained everything to me. I've collapsed on the street. I was suffering from malnutrition, and stress had caused me to develop a stomach ulcer.
Davis, right now, both your mind and body are completely exhausted. Davis, right now, both your mind and body are completely exhausted. You're in a severe state of overwork. For now, you should be admitted to the hospital for about a week.
Hospitalization. But I'm a stay-at-home wife. And the household chores?
What are you saying? If you continue like this, you'll wear yourself out.
I understand. By then, it was already past 7 p.m. I decided to contact my husband to bring me some change of clothes, so I took out my phone. But to my surprise, there were tons of messages that had arrived within the last hour. Both, "Where are you now? Get back home now. You're such a money sucker, and now you're slacking off from your chores." He must have returned from work to find me gone and gotten furious that the cleaning and laundry weren't done. Gathering my courage, I called him. After a few rings, he picked up. "Where the hell have you been, and what have you been doing?" he shouted as soon as he picked up the phone. I took a deep breath and slowly explained the situation to him. "That's why the doctor told me that I need to be hospitalized for about a week." "So, hospitalized? So you're planning to use that as an excuse to slack off even more?" "I'm not slacking off. You've already slacked off on your chores, so the next thing will be divorce." "What? You'd be in trouble if we got divorced, right? If I leave you, you'll be all alone for sure, won't you?" And serious, actually. Even though his wife had been hospitalized, instead of showing concern, he used the threat of divorce to order me to come home. At that moment, a fury I had never felt before reached its peak. Enough. I will never be happy if I continue to live with this man. Then it's better to... As I gathered my thoughts, my husband, caught up in his own power trip, started to provoke me over the phone. "Hey, are you listening?" "Fine." "What? What did you just say?" I said, "Fine. Let's get a divorce." No. What are you talking about? Do you even understand what divorce means?" "Of course. I do. But in return, you prepared the divorce papers." CTS, as if you'd have the guts to divorce me. Just remember this. In his annoyance, my husband hung up without waiting for a reply. The next phone call came later. The caller was my old boss from the job I used to have. Actually, even after I became a housewife, my old boss had been contacting me on several occasions. You see, I used to enjoy getting certifications, and I had several before I got married. I got some during my student days and some after I started working, and they were all beneficial for my job. Thanks to them, I had a wide range of work responsibilities and was trusted by the higher-ups. But when I decided to quit my job after getting married, they tried to keep me on many times. This time, having decided to divorce while in the hospital, I was also considering returning to work. When I mentioned this to my boss, he immediately agreed to take me back. He even took care of the arrangements for company housing, so it was decided that I would return to work and move into the dormitory next month. I'm ready now. I can get away from my husband at any time. Later, when I returned home from the hospital, I found the completed divorce papers on the desk. I signed them and immediately submitted them to the courthouse. I hurried back home and packed up my essentials. Then, I left the house before my ex-husband returned. A few hours later, while I was taking a breather in a budget hotel, my phone vibrated with a call from Kenny. Frequently answering the persistent phone calls, he yelled at me,
"Hey, did you get discharged from the hospital today?"
"Yes, so what?"
Oh, what do you mean, so what? You didn't leave the divorce papers, so you went home, didn't you? Why didn't you wait for me to come back?
You already know the answer. There's no reason to live together in the same house when we're strangers now, is there?
Huh, strangers. What are you talking about? You threw away the divorce papers, didn't you?
Just threw them away.
You got scared when you realized I was serious about the divorce papers and threw them away, right?
It seems like Kenny is convinced that there's no way I could go through with the divorce. Sorry, as proof, he's convinced that I threw away the divorce papers and speaks as if I have no intention of divorcing at all. Responding to him, who didn't seem to understand the situation, I replied sarcastically, "Listen, you seem to be misunderstanding something, but I never threw away the divorce papers."
How? Then
I've submitted them to the city hall.
what kind of joke is?
It's not a joke. It's already been accepted, and you and I are now strangers. We'll never have to deal with each other again. At that explanation, he raised his voice. "Don't mess with me." That's whether he couldn't believe what I said or not, he started blaming me again.
You say no. There's no way you can divorce. You, who have no family, no job.
I certainly have no family, but I do have a job now.
Oh, I'll be your housewife.
That was true until now. I contacted my boss while in the hospital, and they agreed to hire me back.
That's not something you can do.
It's possible. They even told me they want me back.
There's no way.
You probably don't know, but I'm going to resume work and live in the company's dormitory from next month. Then, over the phone.
Oh, wait a minute. This must be a joke, right? I wasn't serious about the divorce.
I don't care. I accepted the divorce because it was what you wanted. There's no problem with that, right?
Oh, but that's a problem. Because if it's, how am I supposed to live without you?
As soon as he understood it was a divorce, my ex-husband began to cling. Disgusted by his attitude, I couldn't help but raise my voice. "Huh, I don't care about your life. You're an adult, figure it out on your own. I was your failed wife, right? So you shouldn't have any problems without me."
Oh, wait. I apologize. Please forgive me.
Shut up. I don't love you one bit anymore. I will never forget how you treated me like a slave. Don't ever appear in front of me again. Reflect on your actions and live alone for the rest of your life. After hanging up the phone unilaterally, I blocked his number. I made sure we would never have to interact again. That being said, my new job is at his workplace. Routines the news of our divorce spread throughout the office. Or because he badmouthed me at work, he seems to be looked at as getting what he deserves. He started to feel out of place at work and began taking unauthorized absences. As a result, Kenny was fired for misconduct. Thanks to this, all connections with him were completely cut off. He ended up in debt due to the alimony I demanded after the divorce, losing his job and even incurring debt. I don't know what he's doing or where. The one thing I'm sure of is that he isn't living a wealthy life. His unhappiness is my only consolation after the torment I have suffered. At from now on, I will work for myself and live for myself. I will regain the freedom that I lost during our marriage.